The saga of President Donald Trump's global trade war continues. That's where we're starting the 7 from the Washington Post. I'm Hannah Jewell. It's Wednesday, April 9th. Let's get you caught up with today's 7 stories. While you were sleeping, assuming you went to bed before midnight, the president's new tariffs on 86 countries kicked in. On Saturday, new 10% import taxes took effect on goods coming into the U.S. from much of the world. But this round of tariffs includes even higher rates, like a 49% tariff on Cambodia and 46% on Vietnam. And biggest of all is a 104% minimum tariff on all Chinese goods. That has sent Asian markets and European markets on another downward journey today, with the usual disclaimer that things may have changed by the time you hear this. But whatever the markets get up to today, this round of tariffs is set to make a long list of products more expensive. That includes iPhones, which are made in China, Vietnam, and India. Apple has complex global supply chains. Trump wants to bring those inside the U.S. Here's how Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick envisioned it, speaking to CBS News on Sunday.
The army of millions and millions of human beings screwing in little screws to make iPhones, that kind of thing is going to come to America. It's going to be automated, and great Americans, the trade craft of America, is going to fix them, is going to work on them.
For more on the tariffs and how they could affect your personal finances, check out the latest episode of Post Reports. Personal finance columnist Michelle Singletary will tell you all you need to know about how to weather this economic storm. The Supreme Court halted an order to rehire probationary workers fired by Trump. That's number 2. Last month, a federal judge ordered the Trump administration to rehire more than 16,000 employees. They were let go as part of Trump's efforts to radically downsize the federal workforce. But Trump had a victory in the Supreme Court yesterday, or at least a temporary one. Justices ruled 7-2 that the order to rehire the probationary workers should be paused for now. The impact of the ruling is unclear. Most of the workers covered by last month's ruling have already been rehired, and another federal judge's separate ruling also complicates things. But yesterday's decision was one of a string of recent emergency rulings by the Supreme Court that have handed Trump modest victories. Number 3. The head of the IRS plans to quit over a deal to share data with immigration authorities. Melanie Krause is the acting IRS commissioner. She's the tax agency's 3rd leader since President Trump was inaugurated in January. And it sounds like there will soon need to be a 4th. Last night, the Post reported that Krause plans to resign. Her decision came after she was bypassed over a controversial agreement to share the tax data of undocumented immigrants with the Department of Homeland Security. Trump officials signed an agreement on Monday allowing the practice. That's despite the fact that IRS lawyers had counseled that the deal probably violates privacy law. Number 4. The central U.S. is facing massive river flooding. Days of torrential rain hit states in the Mid-South last week and over the weekend. Some areas saw 3 months' worth of rainfall in just 3 days. Many communities have already experienced mandatory evacuations and their worst flooding in a century. 10 deaths were reported in Tennessee, and 5 more in 4 other states. But even after the rain stopped, rivers have continued to rise. So the threat of flooding isn't over. A surge of water is set to flow down the Mississippi River over the next week or 2, and the Ohio and Kentucky rivers were forecast to reach dangerously high levels. As egg prices soared at supermarkets, so did profits for producers. That's our 5th story. An outbreak of bird flu has upended the nation's egg supply. More than 120 million hens have been slaughtered because of the virus. And egg prices have risen to record levels, so high that they've become a major political talking point. But for some corporate egg companies, these are the good times. Cal-Maine is the nation's largest egg producer. Yesterday, it announced quarterly profits of $509 million. That's more than 3 times what it made in the same period a year ago. And it's around 10 times its average quarterly profits in the year before the outbreak began in 2022. So how did they pull that off? The short answer is with higher prices and a lot of help from the federal government. Cal-Maine has more than tripled its price for a dozen eggs, and it's received tens of millions of dollars from the Department of Agriculture in compensation for all of the chickens it's had to slaughter. It's not the same story on smaller farms, which have struggled in the bird flu outbreak. But it's certainly something to chew on the next time you're in the grocery store. Elton John and Hamilton made it into the National Recording Registry. That's number 6. The National Recording Registry is the Library of Congress's collection of important audio recordings. It was launched in 2002. And this morning, it announced the class of 2025. The new entries bring the registry to 675 titles. Recordings must be a decade old to be considered. And according to the library, they are selected based on their cultural, historical, or aesthetic importance in the nation's recorded sound heritage. And the 25 new selections are a pretty eclectic mix. They include Elton John's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, the original Broadway cast album for Hamilton, a Don Rickles comedy album, and Celine Dion's My Heart Will Go On. There were also some pretty weird selections, including the music for the Minecraft video game and Microsoft's Windows 95 reboot chime by Brian Eno. You can find the full list in today's newsletter. Just follow the link in our show notes. Number 7 today is going to throw some cold water on a story you might have seen this week. Scientists have not brought back dire wolves from extinction. Dire wolves roamed North America for more than 2 million years until their extinction around 10,000 BC. About 12,025 years later, on Monday, the bioscience firm Colossal said it had brought the species back to life. To prove it, the company shared photos and video of 3 snowy white pups. Their names are Khaleesi, Romulus, and Remus, and they're extremely cute. But they're not actually dire wolves if we're going to be honest about it. Colossal says they were created using a combination of gene editing techniques and ancient DNA found in fossils. But other scientists say that DNA was just not well enough preserved to conduct true cloning. Instead, the company gene-edited gray wolves to look like dire wolves. And scientists say that the project, while impressive, raises serious ethical questions. They fear that focusing on de-extinction could detract from efforts to protect the endangered species that are still with us. All right, you're all caught up. Before you go, make sure you head to our show notes and follow the link to sign up for our newsletter. We send the 7 morning briefing early every weekday. It's totally free, and it has links to all the stories I talk about here on the podcast. Even better, today is where you can find a video of those fluffy but controversial baby wolves. Kick off your day with a deep ethical quandary. I'm Hannah Jewell. I'll meet you back here tomorrow.
I'm Carol Lenig. I'm an investigative reporter at The Washington Post. My basic assignment is to help readers understand complex government policies and government officials' claims and figure out if they're getting the true story. We work to expose what's hidden and what powerful people want to keep hidden. We dig deep to reveal what's true And readers don't have time to do that. Only we can bring to you the reality of how a Medicare program is repeatedly failing. Only we can dig in and figure out that somebody who's nominated for a really important job made up a big part of his resume. Subscriptions support this work. I'm Carol Leonnig, and I'm one of the people behind the Post.